conversation on here. I just want to make sure I can get to new people.
Because new people would not connect it to God, or because...
Oh, no, they would have different things to talk about in relation to God. Because if we've already had this conversation, then it's hard to go off of that because we've already talked about those things.
But how do you know that I'm gonna bring
God?
God?
I know the foundation of people's beliefs based on this. We're just gonna fall back into saying that, oh, the reason why I think it's immoral is because of God. Trinity, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate it. But yeah, no, I do appreciate you coming on though. I just want to make sure that I can get to other people, because I try to have long conversations. So cutting 40 minutes off of someone else's in line would probably be bad when I've already talked to you before.
Well, no problem. But I could try to not try to. I could actually do it without referring to divinity at all, biologically and substantially of proof of scientific facts.
So you have a secular argument for being immoral?
Yes, we could put it from an evolutionary perspective, if that's what you mean.
Okay, well, I have one thing to say. If it reverts back into God at any point, I'm just going to go on to the next person, just letting you know. But, okay, so what would be your argument for why being gay is immoral?
Well, once you choose to be gay, or you are born with it,
I don't think
that...
Oh, I don't necessarily think that we can have to be before. I think we just the same way. I have a biological response to chocolate ice cream over vanilla ice cream. Right? Whether or not I was born liking that, I don't know, but that's how I biologically respond to it.
Right, but you respond to chocolate like that because you tasted it and it tastes good to you, so you want to try it again.
Yeah, and I look at someone that I find attractive, and it's either I find them attractive or I don't. I don't think I necessarily choose that.
You don't have to. Once you've seen chocolate ice cream, you don't actually know what it is. You will try it in order to come to the conclusion that it tastes good and you want to try it again.
Yeah, and you might go on a date with someone and talk to them and be like, oh, I don't necessarily like them. Or you might look at them for a little bit and be like, oh, wait, I don't necessarily find them attractive.
So if you find somebody attractive, you go deeper into it and you find out if that person is of your liking and if you want to proceed in leading to sexual intercourse with them.
Yeah. What is this necessarily referring to? Because all I was referring to is the specific process of whether or not you like something. Again, sexually speaking, I was referring to attractiveness, or you can refer to any other characteristic, and then the other one I was referring to, the taste for chocolate or vanilla ice cream.
Correct. I was just going on to the chain of events that you were putting on to that leads to the conclusion of you liking ice cream. You would now refer to being gay as being something that you don't choose, but you are born with it because you find somebody.
I'm not making an argument that you're born. I don't think that we can confirm based on scientific evidence right now that we're born with it. I don't think that we can consider that with straight people either. So what I would argue is that, generally speaking, it would just be viewed out in the same way as any other human preference. I don't think I'm born with the same taste buds as I have now. So obviously I'm going to like something different now than I did when I was born.
Correct. That's actually a very good argument. While you interact with certain things in your life, during your lifetime, you come to the conclusion that some of them you will take onto you. You will choose to do or to have or to become what they. How to explain this actually? When you choose something in life that you want to do, that you want to experience, automatically it becomes part of you. As some philosophers say, that you become what you eat.
I mean, it can rub off, but me engaging in a particular action might not necessarily change how I view the world, or change anything about me. I just might engage in that particular action, whether or not I choose a cinnamon toast crunch over Lucky Charms. I don't think that's going to really change me that much, just because I chose that on a particular day. But what relevance does this have to whether or not being gay is immoral?
All right, so being gay is immoral because once you choose, so you don't choose. Just so I get the idea of what you believe in or what you think is, if you are not born being gay and you do not choose being gay, how does it happen that you are interacting with another man and you will want to be gay? I don't know how to even.
So the desire, the sexual preference is something that's deterministic. You engaging in action, I do think that you have the choice to make the action of whether or not you sleep with someone. I think that's what you're referring to.
But once you get the idea, just once the thought enters your mind, once the thought enters your mind, once you try to make that decision, how does it come upon it?
How do you come upon the decision?
Yes, how does this thought enter your mind? Sorry?
Reflection?
So you reflect. Once you feel attracted to another man, you reflect upon it.
Mm-hmm. Like you have the initial feelings, and then you reflect upon those feelings, and like, what do these feelings that I have mean? Right? We might do this subconsciously, but this is something that we do.
All right. And once you go through that train of thought, once you go through that reflection, you have to come to a conclusion based on what exactly? To determine if you're going to do it or not. What does it have to mean to you to say, yes, I am gay, yes, I have to be with a man?
Wait, so have to be with someone, right? You don't have to have sex with anyone unless they force you, right? But, like, I would say again, like, the preferences that you have are something you biologically respond to. Like, again, I didn't choose my taste buds. My taste buds are just more this way. Does that make sense? Like, I don't choose my biological preferences. My biological preferences are just this way.
Do you think you chose your body how it is now?
No, well, unless we're talking about, like, whether or not I have, like, a tattoo or something. Right, I chose that for like my hairstyle. I can choose.
Don't fucking start, because why did my fucking friend keep calling me that?
I'm actually saying the way you
Dumbass fucking light skinned bitch.
No.
Anyways, let me stop.
So you didn't choose how your body. You don't think.
I don't care. I call him a fake black person because he is light skinned.
Your mind reacts to reality.
Why is that blue? I did not know this would turn or change into different colors and shit.
You think you chose that is because it's part of you. Your mind, your whole reflection, the whole
gray
theory
looks
of
better,
existence of the. Do you believe in soul, by the way, or what's inside of you that programs this avatar, this body you live in?
Yeah, I would say just biology. That's like how biology, like nurture and nature. These are things that like impact how we act. I don't know how this is at all relevant to whether or not we consider.
Shit, they been the joke. Fuck, when did you start realizing that? Fuck, I love that shit. That should be funny as hell. But see, he black. But like, I call him a fake black person because like that man's the like I don't know. I don't think he whiter than the kill, but like he near it, yo.
Yeah, in some circumstances, there are circumstances where your body can control how your mind operates.
Yeah,
that man is fucking light skinned as hell,
environmental factors. You're cold, your body tells you that you're cold, your mind says, oops, I have to go get dressed, right?
I mean, yeah, those can be things, and then you like can choose based upon those indications or like desires, right? I gotta have the desire to go to somewhere warmer because it's cold, but I can choose whether or not I want
to. Let me see. I know there's like a building behind the Columbia Center.
Because that's the whole point. You're
going towards an internal. We're not gonna speak on that. Anyways,
you make somehow by the mechanisms that your mind work upon, and you tell yourself, "I am in control of these mechanisms, or of these thoughts, or of these beliefs," and then you go upon choosing whatever you want to do with yourself in life.
Yeah, no, I think we all understand that. I think that was assumed within this conversation because we're rational entities, and we assume that given how we like interact with reality. Now, what relevance does that have to give us within this conversation to determine whether or not being gay is immoral?
Right. So then you see a man and you say, I feel that I think I'm attracted to him, so let me go and do that thing. And then you do it, and you just get pleasure out of it, or you get this feeling of love, which you cannot maybe describe because you can love everything in life. You can love an animal, you can love your mother, you can love a stranger, but everything is connected.
Love exists as well.
Exactly. So once you
right,
say,
hopefully you're not loving your mother in a sexual way.
It's immoral to love another man.
Because that would be disgusting.
You can love another man.
Honestly.
It's excellent if you come to the conclusion that you could love every living entity. That would be amazing, right?
Oh my god.
I still don't get
that looks good.
What is the point here for saying why it's immoral?
I don't know. I get because they're debating why is gay immoral. Yeah, that's a fucking good topic this man's been talking about now.
Platonic, like a
but yeah, he's debating that basically.
It can be. I don't know what you're referring. Anything can be platonic. What?
You love this man. And what do you do then?
Let me see. What building did I not place down? Oh, I can place this one down.
I don't think that we consider it either.
Oh, I'm building some shit like Seattle, basically. I'm literally looking at Google Earth right now while listening to this live.
So it's okay. So you think it's immoral to love a man that's 80 years old when you're 20?
I could probably
No, I
put
think
some
it's
other
immoral
shit
for
there,
the 80-year-old to love you, to act upon his feelings. Yeah.
Why?
Because you're 20 years old and you don't have your prefrontal cortex fully developed. So
and there's another building right there, so hold on, what the fuck can go there then?
Just to love me. Like you're just talking about we're still just referring to the love part, right?
Yeah.
Shit, I might have to move this one over here then.
Yeah, so he has feelings for me, positive feelings that don't have to mean that he's trying to take advantage of me.
Control this.
Love in a pure way. An 80-year-old.
Okay, if you're just talking about love in a different, I thought you were talking about love in like a sexual way, right? So if you're just referring to like love as like a, I don't know how you have love for like anyone else in your life, like your family members or your like cousins or like I don't know, just like random people.
So sexually,
I don't know, like friends, right? Like okay, that's fine. I don't see the issue with that. How does this have anything to do with the topic?
Well, you're asking, is being gay immoral?
Yes.
And I said, being gay means loving somebody automatically, because if you want to be with somebody, you have to love them, right?
Being gay doesn't mean that you love someone. No, not necessarily.
Okay, so if you choose to be with a man, you just want to be with him just to interact and
oh shit, I forgot about this one. Hold on, I could have put that down and moved that.
So what does gay actually mean? To be sexually attracted by somebody, if it doesn't involve love?
Yeah, being gay is referring to like a sexuality, like being straight is referring to a sexuality. So generally speaking, if we're talking about like males, males would be attracted to other males, like just referring to like that. That's what being gay is.
All right. So once you think that, not you think, you actually feel the connection to another man. You don't love him. You don't even want to go there. You just feel attracted to him, and you choose to be with him, to have sexual intercourse with him. That, in my opinion, is immoral.
Okay, so the sexual intercourse part is immoral. Is that what you think?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So why is the sexual intercourse immoral?
Because once you go into the sexual intercourse, there's no definite outcome other than pleasure.
Okay. I have a question. If me and my wife, who are married, had 2 or 3 kids, she gets her tubes tied, we have sex.
Because we took out the love part. You and your wife, you love each other, and you're doing that for each other out of biological and anatomical perspective.
Oh shit, let me put down the fake ass Space Needle over here.
They have sex that only leads to pleasure because they love each other?
If they love each other, and they're actually doing it for the love of one another, the true love, the meaning of love, which...
So what, you trying to paint out the fucking homosexual people as some sort of fucking whore? Just some dirty whores, bro? That's kind of fucking ignorant of you.
Only for the pleasure of it.
Shit.
I think it's moral. But doing it... Okay. But doing it for the fact that it's only for the pleasure thing. Anything we do only for the pleasure, even if you...
I mean, even if you love someone, it could still only be for pleasure. But like, okay, so like again, I have another circumstance then. If an 80-year-old loves a 6-year-old or a 12-year-old, right? Is it okay for them to engage in sexual activity towards that 12-year-old because they love them?
Well, we both know it's not the case.
So I don't think it's necessarily about this love standard. I think it's probably about something else. I think it's really about whether or not they be consenting adults, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so if it's about whether or not they're consenting adults, then what is the issue with 2 gay people having sex?
Well, then we go back to the only fact that remains, that procreation is impossible.
Okay, so given the context of me with my infertile girlfriend, Or no, me with an infertile girl, right? We don't love each other. Is it immoral for us to have sex?
No, that's
No?
the main problem.
No.
No. I'm not saying no. I'm saying no. The argument that you're making is very, very difficult to put in a comparison with a man and another man doing it, because a man and a woman, if they wouldn't have this disease or this problem of not being able to procreate, would still be from the beginning, from birth. If everything would run correctly, anatomically, biologically, they could have done it.
Correctly. What is correctly implied? Correctly implies God. You know that, right?
No. Wait a second.
Yes, it does.
Nature,
correctly
by
implies
nature.
God. There's no correct thing within nature.
Okay, take the word correct out of it. If you only believe in randomness.
Parker, nah, bitch, you made a deal. If he even spoke about fucking God at one point, you would kick him. Kick this man.
They don't procreate like that.
All male and females can, right? There are infertile ones, right? So again, given the fact that there are infertile males and females, right? Them engaging in sex, you consider that to be immoral.
Say the question again, please. Rephrase it.
We'll say either they're infertile and they can't have kids, they can't reproduce, or they got their own tubes tied. Like, they went to a place to make themselves infertile, right? So, given the fact that they either did those two actions, would it be immoral for either of them to have sex?
A man and a woman?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so now it's just based upon whether or not it's a man and a woman, not whether or not it can lead to, like, reproduction or any of those other characteristics that you were referring to. So what specifically about a man and a woman necessitates that it's something that you consider moral, but a man and a man is something that's immoral? Because I don't see any characteristic that you've outlined that you apply, like, consistently.
All right, Parker. You are right. If I go into this, then you will say again, I'm trying to bring up the God factor here, which is in the moment.
This is where you would do it, right?
Yeah. You're putting me into this. You're putting me in the corner, because I would say it's immoral for a man and a woman to have sex if they're infertile, because it only leads to pleasure, and if the only outcome is pleasure, then it's not why we are put on this earth. And then,
we can say the same thing about me in a marriage with my wife, right? If she has her tubes tied, it can't lead to reproduction. The only byproduct of this is pleasure, right? So given the fact that the only byproduct is pleasure, wouldn't that be considered immoral too?
Yes, now you're making me contradict myself, because before I was trying not to tie to God.
At least you know.
Or to our existence having a purpose. If you put me only on this path, then I have to say, and there's no way around it, that if we are put on this earth to procreate the human race, then a man and a woman is the only way to do it, of course, and now science allows us to to do it in a laboratory.
But it's not also all men and women, right? That's what I'm saying. Is if it's not all men and women, right, then you can't say all men and women having sex is moral, because they don't have that characteristic in which you're referring to gives it the power of being either moral or immoral, right? So again, that's a fundamental flaw that, again, you're using as a justification or a foundation for that argument would be that you're believing in God and that it's intellectually designed for men and women to be okay, but men and men to be wrong. That's the only argument you can make within that context. So you see what I mean? Is like it always like boils down into like the conversation about God if you come from like a religious.
Nah, they made a good ass fucking map with this. It's no update, bro. They should have been added to skyscraper DLC type thing anyway. This shit was very much needed. Did I not add one yet? Or did I add all of them that are low rises? Yeah, I think I got them. Oh, let me put that in the stock exchange shit.
Absolutely nothing to do with helping society or helping the human race in any way. What do you Taxes is that taxes are retrieved from us in order to help our society evolve on a very structural level. I don't know. It's difficult. What exactly?
No, are you for broader taxes or like social expansion, things like universal health care, access to free education, things like that to make society better as a whole? Do you think that we have some sort of moral obligation within society to suffice that?
Yes, we actually should have a moral obligation to not only give back. It's a way of giving back, but it's something it's other than somebody asking us to give back, because it's a calculated mathematical equation that appears in our society that says from everything that you take, because all our ancestors built this town or this city or everything that's in it. So we use their knowledge and we use everything they have to fulfill this selection of whatever we live in, this mechanism. That is, if I live in a town and I use everything it provides for me, then I have to give back something for the future generation or for the next one, so we can evolve, so we can build upon it.
Wait, no, I just agree. I'm just trying to see if you apply this like consistently across the board. Would you say that people you as like an individual, if you become brain dead, you have an obligation to give up all of your organs to other people because that could save more lives? Like, like the state can force you, or like your body when you're brain dead, to give up all of your organs to give them to other people to save other lives. Do you think that that's something that we should be obligated to do?
Whoa, that's very, very. Did you actually go into studies about this?
Well, this is a comment, actually, a question that's given to like utilitarians. But like this is coming from a perspective where you think that we have the like obligation to do what's best for the context of society. So I'm seeing if you would just apply that standard consistently across the board.
Yes. It's very difficult to say this because medicine says that in some cases it works incredibly, and if you donate your organs, it can save a life. But in other cases, it can make it even worse in life. Even if they live, if they go through it and they survive the procedure, they actually have a very difficult life afterwards.
That can happen, but getting the donation, or in this circumstance, like the forced organs out of people, would lead them to a better life rather than them not having it in the first place. So again, like significantly better. That's why people go on these wait lists in the first place. If you ever had a family member that's needed one, like you want to go on that wait list, regardless of whether or not it has the possibility of you like rejecting it. Because again, there is no alternative. You will literally die if you don't have access to those specific organs, right? That's why you need them in the first place. So again, like, do you think that like people should be obligated to give up their organs in that circumstance so that they can save more lives?
Out of the perspective of free will of people, and upon their decision of being in that state of mind where they're desperate and they only think that YOLO, you only live once and you have to use this life. You have to make anything you can in order to survive. You have to do everything you can in order to survive, even kill another human being in order to protect yourself. These are such difficult discussions, Parker. You know that.
I know this is a difficult question, trust me, especially from the perspective where you have to say one thing in order to remain consistent with the broader framework. And it's something that you don't want to say because it seems to be like an over-encroachment of like your personal autonomy.
Yeah, what would you do if it was this question from a philosopher? What would you do if you had the power to push a button and save your mother's life, but also at the same time launch a nuclear bomb and kill 1,000 people, 10,000 or 1,000, 100,000 people you don't know?
I wouldn't click the button.
You wouldn't click the button?
I have lots of love for my mother, but you have to think about it from a perspective that is not yourself. The thing is, tens of thousands of people, you can't even compare that to one individual, even though you provide so much like value to this one individual. And I would honestly, I'm going to be real, I would apply that standard to every single person I'm close to in my life, because like 10,000 people, that's just an unimaginable amount of people that you'd be responsible for just because you love someone, which is just against like some sort of biological response, and it's just you as an individual. I would, in that circumstance, 100% give myself up for those 10,000 people, absolutely, without even questioning it. Like, it's not even comprehensible, the level of suffering that would happen from that type of event. Thank you for the handout, I appreciate it.
That's great that you think about that, but let's take it up a notch. Would you do it for only one person?
depends on the person. Like generally speaking, like an average person, I probably would, and that's not even like come off as like, oh my god, I would do that, but like I genuinely probably would. But if it's like someone that I consider to be bad, like if it was like fucking, I don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer right in front of me, I know he's not alive right now, but if it was Jeffrey Dahmer right in front of me, yeah, I wouldn't give myself up for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that would never happen. Like I would, I don't know.
Okay, all right. So you would put yourself in the position to judge somebody else's life, right?
I would put myself in that. I wouldn't put myself in that situation, but given the fact that I was in that situation, I was forced to be. Right? That's what I would do.
Well, yeah, okay. But you were forced by that randomness that you consider that we all live in, right?
Oh, this is just a hypothetical.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't forced by anything. Actually, it's just a hypothetical, right? It's
I know. But it could happen, right?
Situation we've created. I mean, logically speaking, it could happen, but the likelihood of that happening is exorbitantly small. So much so that like this is never going to happen in my life, and I'm pretty certain of that claim.
All right. So, in your topic, to return to the topic at hand, the fact that we are that we are born with a specific set of let me put it another way around, please. Let me ask you this: do you consider yourself, compared to a handicapped person, that you chose, to be in this state that you are now, and a handicapped person that was born that way, did something wrong to be born that way?
No, I don't think someone did anything wrong to be born that way. What relevance does this have? Thank you for the hand heart, I appreciate it.
To tie it to a thing that you talk a lot about in your lives, that
damn, hold on, that could have hella offshore oil shits.
Genetic disorders, it's not something that they choose.
I did not know it was that much oil in this river. This shit contaminated.
You have to die at some point.
Fucking PlayStation. Let me turn off this voice fucking shit.
That person to save it and to make it good, to make it right, to make it okay, so he can.
Let me turn off. No.
Would you do it?
Hi, this fucking dumbass voice shit was about to fucking go to Netflix.
Everybody lives a perfect
I'm
life.
like, yo, what are you doing?
To be perfect. Now, that would take out randomness, right?
Would I do that? Yeah.
You would do it. You would make everybody live, and I can't say angelic life.
They can still delineate between those different types of lives. Just again, it would be based upon the perspective that they now have. Again, rich people can still, like people who have like everything handed to them in their lives, right, can still delineate between good and bad, right? And they've never had that type of suffering that we all have within our lives, right? And we're talking about people who are like kids of billionaires. Thank you for the hand hearts, I appreciate it. And yet they still have bad things that happen in their life in terms of like their own mental stability, things like that. Thank you for the hand heart, I appreciate it. So again, I mean, I still think that there can be a delineation, even though we have like what we consider right now to be perfect lives.
But the bad thing that you're describing that can happen in somebody's life, can it not be also associated with somebody being born with that disease?
It can in some circumstances. But that would be referring to things like depression, anxiety, things that people are like biologically ingrained to have. Whereas, like, again, anything can happen just within their lives of them interacting with other people where they might take it in a negative way or something like that, even though we consider it to be something super minor, right? Thank you for the hand heart, I appreciate it. Like, we would never even be, like, moved by that. Like, I don't know, like, if I missed a putt in mini golf, right? That might be very bad for someone who's never really had bad things happen to them, but for me, I don't really see that to be an issue at all, right? So I don't know, it's just different levels of that exist. It's just based upon the perspective in that circumstance. So I still think that you can preserve the differentiation between good and evil and still remove those forms of evil, right? So what we'd have to justify in this circumstance would be whether or not this level of evil is like the optimal position for it to be evil in order for us to have like broader happiness or success or be able to delineate between the two. So what people have to argue from the theist perspective is that this provides some greater good, right? You can't argue from a deontologist point of view. You have to argue from a consequentialist or a utilitarian perspective. So that's an issue that a lot of people from the religious standpoint have to come to grasp with, right? Especially if they've looked into their theological beliefs like a lot.
Exactly. So yes, you made up your mind in a certain in many aspects, but you still consider yourself to not actually pinpoint the things that you believe in. Mostly, you just say, "I don't believe that is on an opposite pole or in the other direction. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I don't actually know exactly in which direction to put the balance on."
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. So like, this is just referring to this topic in particular. I have lots of like beliefs that are like pretty set in stone, like things I've argued a lot. I have lots of other beliefs in terms of like politics and
I would
things
love
like
to
that.
hear those.
But yeah, we can always go into that another time. But like with this specific belief, yeah, I don't have like a standstill position in terms of this. That's why I'm still agnostic. I'm pretty much like, I would say I lean 50-50, but the probability of either or happening, I don't know if I could consider that 50-50. I don't think we can quantify that. But I'm just talking about from the position that I'm in right now. I lean pretty 50-50, and I think that just generally comes from like the personal biases that I have growing up in a religious household where I want these types of religions to be true. We just don't necessarily have a method of rationalizing it or justifying it that way.
But you know you will never have it, right?
I don't know. I think I possibly could. I've heard arguments that are very convincing in the beginning. Thank you for the handout. I appreciate it. I've heard arguments that are very convincing in the beginning. But as I've looked into it more, they weren't as convincing. Thank you for the handout. I appreciate it. Thank you for all of them. But yeah, I do think that I can someday come to some sort of like evidence that could say this. Maybe we will learn something within science or like within quantum mechanics that will be like, yo, this wouldn't make sense given some type of naturalistic perspective. That could always happen. But like in terms of rational arguments, we can always build upon these different types of belief systems we have. Maybe I'd find out in the future that these types of belief systems would be more consistent with my worldview or make more sense within like an ideological framework or an ethics-based framework. So like many different things could change. I don't think that I would just necessarily write off this conversation as like, oh, it can never lead to any type of end. Because I think that there are lots of ends, even if we don't necessarily see one right now.
All right, but in the end, if there's only two ways of putting this. One, there is a God, and he has a plan. Two, there is no God. It's randomness. Correct?
No, there's not two ways. There's so many different ways, right? It could be a deist god. It could be some type of multi-theist god, right? There's multiple different theist gods. It could be multiple different deist gods. It could be like anything, right? It's not just one or the other. And when we presume it to be either this all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God or like some naturalistic perspective, again, I don't see that to necessarily make sense. I think that's actually significantly less probable than, like, again, some type of deist god, given what we observe within reality and the evil that we see and like the suffering.
But you know there can be only one truth, right?
Well, yeah, but I don't think it's only built upon those two. It could be many different things, right?
Yeah, but from all those different things, you know you have to succumb to only one, correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So if there would be randomness, then we live in chaos. Let's leave that out because that would be impossible to quantify right now. But if there is a God, and he would show himself to you, you would automatically lose your free will. You know that, right?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Yes.
I would just know something. I can still choose given the fact that I know, right? There are still people that can know that God exists, but still turn away or reject God, right? Thank you for the crown. I appreciate it.
That's true. That's also the whole definition of Luciferianism. Somebody who chooses to be his own God, right?
I mean, I don't know what Luciferianism is.
Let's just, like I described it, somebody chooses to be his own God. Somebody thinks he knows best what's right for him. Right?
I don't think people necessarily always know what's best for them. They might think they do.
But they're always looking for someone or something that shows them what is actually that one truth that makes it all right.
Well, people are, generally speaking, people probably look for truth. What does this have to necessarily point?
Exactly, because when we go on this path, at the end, there will be only one truth. And for this one truth to be complete, it has to be either God or randomness.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And once a divinity... No?
You're creating a false dichotomy. Because, you're saying it's only two when it's not only two.
You cannot name anything else that can make your life have purpose unless it's a being or unless it's a God that knows exactly.
I think we can identify our own purpose because we are sentient beings. Sentient beings with reason, actually. I think reason allows for us to identify some type of purpose.
But your reason is much more evolved than somebody who, you know, out of your experience, that there are some people who you can explain something like 10 times, which you know is true and scientifically proven, that they will not get. Their mind cannot...
We've definitely met someone like that. I forgot his stupid ass name, but yeah, this man really thought magnetism and gravity were the same thing. Like, fuck.
No, I don't know if it's necessarily that they're not evolved enough. They just might not necessarily have had the experience or something like that. Because there are definitely things that have been in my life in which I haven't necessarily grasped on, like the right away or something like that. But I don't think it necessarily means that I couldn't do so. Thank you for that, Cowboy. I appreciate it. But again, I think we should probably try to get back to the topic here.
Yes. So the topic at hand, that this was it. What is immoral? Does it mean to be immoral? Means that you choose what is immoral from the point of view of your inner beliefs and what you see in the world surrounding you, how people react. But they also need to have a belief, which is their inner belief. Or they choose to do something or to live by the rules or beliefs of something with a higher purpose than they have.
Okay, so you're just saying people can choose to identify their own beliefs through a mental system on their own, or they can look for something.
We have to look in the past. We cannot look in the future. We can only live the present and take all of the experiences of the past, of our past ancestors. And of course, there are so many that we cannot put ourselves there.
That's not necessarily the case. We don't just base it upon what our ancestors did.
We also base it upon the reality of the now. We live in the now, in the present.
And also, I think, like, reason as well.
The reason?
Like our own reason, right? They give it.
I mean, you're saying our consciousness now, or just our mental faculties?
Well, consciousness, you can refer to consciousness as like some level of mental faculties. Yeah, I would say mental faculties in general, we encompass that.
You think they're different? Consciousness and mental faculties are the same or different?
Wait, there are mental faculties that don't get consciousness, or aren't necessarily referencing consciousness.
But consciousness would not function all the time with us, you mean? But
yeah, thank you for the answer, I appreciate it. Depending on how you define consciousness, there could be, thank you for the answer, I appreciate it. There could be faculties that exist in the brain that are currently operating like neurons firing. Thank you for the answer, I appreciate it. But it doesn't necessarily produce some kind of like consciousness. Like for example, like people who are brain dead, they don't have what we consider to be consciousness, but yeah, they still have like neurons firing.
Okay, but the consciousness is inside of them. We cannot actually prove what that is. We cannot quantify it. We don't have even the machines or the way of doing it.
What do you mean by quantify? We can tell if something has consciousness, like likely speaking, like probability speaking, like, oh, they likely have consciousness due to having these particular parts of the brain working. But I don't necessarily we can identify like the experience through someone's brain. Like, we can't like look into some like what someone experienced through their brain. You know what I mean?
We cannot look on the experience, what they chose or what they believe in through their brain, through the mechanism of the brain.
I still don't see how this is relevant to like the broader context of the conversation.
Well, if something is immoral, then our mental faculties somehow combine in trying to allocate that which is with their experience or with what they see in the surrounding world. If it is immoral or not, we have to put it in an order, and we have to have some rules to say what's immoral and what not. Why do we have the Supreme Court? Why do we have police? Why do we have all these rules?
Here's the rules. Yeah, I'm asking you what your rules are. I'm not identifying like what people consider like right now that people consider to be immoral or immoral. I'm asking you if you have an argument for like saying that like being gay is immoral.
But yes, from a singular perspective of one person choosing that out of the context of whatever
you choosing that. Yes. Like what is your framework? How do you base your conclusion like this?
Exactly. So from everything that I experience by looking into the world, by reading, by having these direct experiences with people, their way of living, I conclude that not because it's the majority, but of course that's a factor. sex in order to procreate, first of all, in order to have functional families. Of course, you're going to say now, two big men can have a functional family. But still, it doesn't lead to the fact that they will have a family, that they will reproduce, and that family can have children, and so on and so forth. So it's, in the end, it's immoral. I'm choosing to go against evolution, procreation.
Okay, so if I choose not to have kids, is that immoral?
If you can, and you would be the only one who can do it on an island alone with another female, yes, I think.
No, but not if I choose right now.
If you choose right now, what
not
would
to have kids, is that immoral?
If you could have kids right now.
Yeah, I can have kids right now, but I decide not to. Like in my life.
I don't know, bruh.
So I just don't want to have kids.
Oh no, the guy that was spewing all that bullshit. Oh yeah, I think he left. It's like some other kid now.
Yeah, the reason.
Or actually, no, you were here. Yeah, it's still the same motherfucker.
Galaxy, I appreciate it.
Oh my god, he turned. Ew. Anyways.
Yes, I think in the end I have to
say
he
turned on his fucking face cam.
Yes, because you don't want to
Anyways,
burden your life taking care of
fucking not gonna work
somebody else. Would you do it for a stranger? Would you take care of a stranger? You just want to live your life, to take care of yourself. I think it's immoral. Yes.
Okay, so it's immoral to choose not to have kids. Okay. Is it immoral to engage in an action that doesn't lead to reproduction? Like sexual action that doesn't lead to reproduction?
If it's only meant for pleasure, repeatedly, without a purpose, yes.
Okay, so if I'm with my wife and we have oral sex, is that immoral?
Yes.
If we make out, is that immoral? Thank you for the candy cane, I appreciate it.
If you just do it if you do it for the sentiment of showing love and romance in a very sentimental sort of way, it's not. If you do it out of the...
Okay, so if I have if someone has gay sex in a really sentiment and loving way, would it then not be considered immoral?
Yes, again, because then we go to the root of the problem, because it's not meant for the society to reproduce.
Okay, so if someone is like really loving another person who's infertile, and they decide to have sex with them, right? Is that moral or immoral?
Immoral, because they would just do it for pleasure, right?
Okay, so infertile people having sex just in general is immoral.
If they just do it for pleasure, like I said, for repeated pleasure...
They can't do it for anything else. They're literally infertile.
Yes.
So it's immoral for them to engage in sex. Like me and my wife who's infertile. Or, like, for example, me and my wife who already had kids. Let's say she had 3 kids, right? And now we're having sex after she got her tubes tied just for pleasure. That's immoral too, right?
Yes, because it doesn't lead to any sort of positive consequence other than bringing out that pleasure out of dopamine, serotonin, and so on, which you can get from so many other things in life, which also brings purpose to your life.
Okay, so why is pleasure bad necessarily? Like, should I not play video games if it's just for pleasure?
Yes. If you don't learn something, you don't evolve while doing it in a certain way, even if it's even if it's just a little bit. Yes.
Okay, so you don't do anything just for pleasure. You do everything that you do in your life. You do just based upon something that's going to give you some type of like edge over other people or like grow in some type of way, right?
No, I didn't say that. I would never.
So you engage in
you're a
hypocrite.
Actions?
Of course I do. I fight them, and it's an incredible battle. I think it's the greatest battle that we have to fight against them.
I mean, if you consider literally engaging in any type of pleasure to be immoral, I don't think it's about being gay. I just think it's about engaging in any type of pleasure that doesn't lead to like the betterment of society, right? So literally playing video games you consider to be immoral. So I mean, like me literally playing a video game while I'm talking to you right now, that is literally immoral. You know, I don't see that to be that bad. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, if you consider that to be immoral, I don't really like care about the definition of immoral then in that context.
I understand what you're saying, but you know yourself that you know it deep inside, that playing video games a lot, without a purpose,
without... Wait, no, not even a lot, not even a lot. You said just in general, right?
In general, if you're playing video games just for spending the time doing it without actually knowing for a fact that you take out a positive, I don't know how to call it, because you could say...
Me quick scoping bots on Black Ops 4 right now, I don't think it's going to give me anything in the future, so I definitely think that this is an immoral action by your standards.
Yes, and you consider this to not bring you any benefit for your evolution.
Yeah, right? I don't know what benefit I'm going to get from quick scoping the bots.
Well, you could say you train your reflexes, for example. I heard a lot of
my reflexes are already good. So I mean,
you can get better at it.
That was a joke, by the way. That was a joke. Thank you for the hint, I appreciate it.
You can get so good at it that you can join a team and make money out of it.
Okay. Me having sex, right? That doesn't lead to reproduction. If it's aimed towards me, having more stamina, is it then not immoral?
Oh, very nice that you take it in that direction.
I mean, you gave me the parameters, bro.
I know, I gave you the parameters. I know, I just put it right up there. So if you would consider yourself that by having sex, you would actually increase stamina, and you consider that to be the only reason why you do it, I would not consider it immoral, because you actually...
Please, let's go.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy for me to say that, but I think you would have some part of your mental functions just blocked off completely, and just saying that is the only way I know how to improve my stamina, by just having sex with that person.
It doesn't have to only be the only way. You said it has to be directed towards a particular purpose, right? So I think that's pretty much a W, y'all.
It's brutal that you just put it out there and just block everything else and just say, that's it, I got him with that, like stamina. What else can I do while having sex? Of course you can have a lot of other things that you can improve.
Yeah, I'm working on my flexibility, and I'm also working on my concentration.
Yes, exactly. Like how much can you like tantric
cardio? Hell yeah.
Cardio, you can have a tantric moment of sex and say that it brings you to another state of consciousness, and you say, while I'm having sex, I'm going into this deep meditation state. Of course you can say all of this, but you can do it without having sex. Like many people say, I can only do it by using ayahuasca, or I can only do it by...
But your condition wasn't that you only can do it for that way. Your condition was just that it leads to that type of direction.
I know,
because then playing video games, I can like increase my 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 reaction time other ways.
It's true.
I mean, video games it goes back into that. So I mean, yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Radna?
No. It's fine. I know. Like I wanted to ask you this final question, which I tried asking you before, and I don't know exactly how you can bring up an answer that you actually haven't given yourself yet, that you're still searching for, which you would enlighten yourself and us, the viewers, by telling us exactly when you do this, while you're having this channel up, and you ask all these questions, you are actually actively seeking for the truth of it, right? So you're not actually only doing it for monetary purposes or for fame or for any of that, right?
No. Those are all byproducts. I've been going live for 2 years now, every single day. For the first year or so, me going live literally every day. I used to get 10, 15 viewers every single day. This is just a byproduct of the fact that I've been going live for a long time. So yeah, no, I'm not necessarily doing this for money or fame or whatever. That's all secondary. What I'm doing this for is actually to promote a good message, promote rational thinking, critical thinking skills. I think those are really important things to promote within our society. And a lot of people had some very unproductive debates here on TikTok. So I mean, at least one of my goals was to make debates more productive and just better overall. So show people how you can be patient with the context of conversations, even if people aren't necessarily trying to learn or things like that. It's just providing those undertones for people to take into the conversations that they have. That's my real motivation and purpose with going and debating on live and whatnot.
Okay. You're just helping everybody that talks to you and everybody that listens to you to have a better
and myself
way, and yourself, yes, okay, to actually improve their thinking and improve their rational and psychological ways of coming up with a way of finding out truths and of helping them understand the world, themselves, and some kind of purpose, right?
Yeah.
Would you really want to find it with somebody or with multiple people during this chat? Do you really consider it an option for you at some point to say, this discussion, this topic is closed because me and you and others actually came to a conclusion?
I think everything forms conclusions, right? We might have a conclusion that we might think to be right now, but like broader conversations in the future will open us up to like different things that have like problems with that type of argument. But yeah, I feel like we could probably come to like a pretty decent conclusion on some topics, but there are obviously philosophical things in which don't necessarily have a particular like objectively right conclusion in some circumstances, right? So like, yeah, no, it depends on the conversation that we're having. So like, I mean, this conversation, I think that we can come to conclusions based on different perspectives. Thank you for the hand heart. I appreciate it.
Is there anything from all the guests that you talk to that you can call a just a little sort of conclusion for this topic?
For this topic, I mean, a conclusion for this topic, I would say that I can't identify whether or not being gay is considered moral or immoral. I would just say it's a moral neutral. That's the conclusion that I'm currently at. It's not necessarily a conclusion. It's kind of like a refrain from a conclusion. So if you're talking about this particular topic, that'd be a lot harder. But like other topics, I have like more formed conclusions.
Can you name just one topic for me, please, that you started, you talked a lot about it, and you actually came to a conclusion?
Okay, like what type of conclusion? Like a certain conclusion, or just like a conclusion in general?
Certain for you, that you actually don't want to debate about it anymore. You are relieved with it.
Oh yeah, vaccinations. I think it's very cut and dry here that like vaccines are like safe and effective, and that like taking a vaccine, generally speaking, is going to lead to like you being in a better condition than if you weren't to take that vaccination. I used to debate on that all the time, but yeah, that's definitely something that we can absolutely form a conclusion on. I think the science is pretty clear there.
You mean it? You really mean it? Any sort of vaccination that you take, even if some vaccinations kill people.
Oh no, I said generally, right? Like, so one that we can identify the case, like, so like for example, like the polio vaccine, right? I think that one is pretty cut and dry, saying that it's like one that you should like take if you medically can. I think that's pretty cut and dry. I also think it's pretty cut and dry that the 2020 election was not stolen and was not rigged. So I mean, I think that we can come to conclusions on that too. Like, I've had conversations on that stuff as well.
All right. But you do know that vaccines cause a lot of side effects, right?
Yeah, but significantly less side effects comparative to like the viruses.
Correct, because the viruses are getting more and more evolved and more. Yes, I understand what you mean, but
even at the initial strains.
Okay. All right. So you consider a future where we would get vaccinated for every sort of strain that appears new, mutation, that would be correct.
Well, I mean, in a future society, it probably wouldn't necessarily be needed as much. We get particular ones, and then it would probably be able to cover for like multiple different variants. Thank you for the hand art. I appreciate it. That's likely what we would have in the future. We just have one that like gets into it and takes into account like all different variants of that virus or whatnot, or all different ones that are like generally spread.
Okay, so you will just take any vaccination that is at the beginning medically proven that it's okay, because it saves you from maybe the future mutations.
Right, say that one more time.
Any vaccine.
Oh, we develop one that can like do for future mutations. I think it's likely in the future that we could do that, yeah, at some point. I don't know when that would be. I mean, that could be hundreds of years from now, but like I think that could happen. I'm pretty sure they're already working on ones like that for COVID.
Yes, they are.
It was at Walter Reed Hospital. I forget the name of the vaccination was called, but they were already working on like that.
Okay. Well, I really enjoy talking to you once I know that I really enjoy listening to you first and then talking to you once I see that you actually face open for any sort of discussion and any sort of, let's say, definition of something leading you to take to give purpose a little bit to the things you're talking about in order to come to a conclusion. I just hope you're actually doing that from the beginning on, that you're actually searching to find something that helps everybody and yourself as well, without just doing it for the conflict of it, or just doing it because it gives you fame or money.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't give a flying shit about any of those things. I genuinely, when I say I honestly, if you want to talk about this offline, I'll talk more about it. I don't want to say everything I'm like on stuff, but like, yeah, no, like, when I say that, like, being genuine. And I know it's hard to like express it on the internet because a lot of people are like fake and just trying to do stuff for that, but like, I'm genuine with what I say.
Okay, I'm sorry about the chat waiting to go on live for so long because we haven't actually talked all the time about being gay is immoral. But
no, it's fine. And I appreciate you coming on. It was good talking to you.
Good talking to you. Have a good night. Sorry, chat. Ciao.
Have a great day. By the way, everyone, if you like my content, make sure to follow me if you haven't already. Y'all know the deal. I come on here on a daily basis, so again, make sure to follow me if you haven't already. Tap on the screen if you want to see some more debates. Let's try and get like 400K likes, so it'll help set up more people. To get like more debates here. I appreciate everyone coming on. If you actually like missed any of this conversation, you want to check it out on YouTube, read my bio if you want to do that. Remoto, thank you so much for the gold mine. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you want to like see these on there, make sure to do that. It does actually help there, especially like when TikTok like Pantheon here and whatnot. But I appreciate everyone. Everyone type W chat real quick. I just want to see it. W chat. But let me go on to the next person, y'all. Thank you for the hand, I appreciate it, Parky. W chat, let's go, let's go. Yo, Jamal, do you think incest is immoral?
Dan, I didn't say hello or hey, how was your day?
No, I've really been wanting to ask you this question. Is incest immoral?
Yes, absolutely.
Incest is immoral?
Wait, let me give you more details about that. I don't think like first cousin marriage is moral. Or like second cousin marriage is like moral. But like with like a father and a
that
son or
father. Do you mean third cousin, or your first cousin would be like closer to you than your second cousin? So I don't know why second cousin would be immoral, but first cousin wouldn't be.
No, because I found out that like in the Middle East, like a significant percentage of the population marry their first cousin. And I looked it up. I was like, what? Is this real? And it's actually true. So, but is it immoral? I know as a Christian, like there's nothing in the Bible that goes against like marrying your first cousin. So, and I can't really come up with like a good argument against it. I would like recommend against it because of like the genetic defect.
Okay, well, here's the question I really want to ask. How did Adam and Eve reproduce? Thank you for the hand, I appreciate it. And their kids.
Yeah, because they obviously their children had to do what they had to do with each other, not with their parents.
Yeah, was that immoral?
No, so it didn't become immoral until the Mosaic Law.
Okay, so prior to that point, okay, wait. So then, you don't think that morals are objective? You just concede that you think morals are subjective and change over time?
Yeah, I think some things are just like morally objective.
So incest being immoral is not objectively immoral.
It's situational.
It's situational. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can only say that incest is immoral sometimes.
Well, I think now it's immoral because
so like, it changes. It's not immoral sometimes, but it's immoral other times. But the same conditions can occur, and it would be still. Wait, actually, no. Here's a condition. So you're saying if it's for like the revival of the species or to like continue the species, right? And you're the only one that can do it, then it's not immoral. but in other circumstances it is immoral.
Yeah, so it's not just like Adam and Eve.
Okay. So actually, I think this is a misnomer because I think you still consider it to be immoral. You just think that immorality of that action is superseded